All right, in this slide recording, we're going to be looking at the olfactory, various slides with that, and also with the taste buds. So before you view this recording, make sure you're familiar with that from pictures in your lab manual. Maybe you look at some of the other slide folders. All right, let's move to our first slide. It takes a moment. Here we go. Now, this slide actually is pretty difficult to recognize because if you look at the top right here, you might be able to observe the cilia. But for your first lab test, this will be the only slide where you'll see cilia. And this is the olfactory epithelium. Now, if you would imagine just an upside down version of this, so those cilia would be hanging down instead of projecting up, that's what it would look like in the nasal epithelium. Of course, you're seeing some other features here. You're seeing some glands that you would have in the nasal epithelium. You're seeing other epithelial cells. Don't worry about those. Just mainly be able to recognize the cilia that are on the surface here, on this free surface. The neurons themselves are difficult to recognize, difficult to distinguish between the other epithelial cells that they're situated with. But this would be a really good example of the pseudostratified columnar epithelium that you learned about in A&P 1. But in addition to that, there's also these neuron receptor cells for the sense of smell. Whenever food particles bind to the receptors on the surface of the receptor cells, then that's going to elicit an action potential, which will then transmit to the smell centers of your brain. If we move to the next slide, this is also, we'll be showing olfactory epithelium, but here you can see the receptor cells are stained darkly. You can see again the cilia at the surface. Again, if you would imagine this being totally turned 180 degrees so that they'd be hanging down, then that would give you a better idea that these are in the nasal cavity. Okay, so that's the olfactory epithelium. The next few slides are showing taste buds. This one comes directly from your book. You see this, I believe, in the lab manual, but also in the textbook. And on this one, if you'll follow my line as I'm drawing, this is just the side of a papilla of the tongue. Now, in exercise 30, we also use the word papilla to refer to those projections of the dermis up towards the epidermis. You just need to realize that the word papilla simply means upward projection. And those bumps on your tongue that are macroscopic are also called papillae. They are not the taste buds. The taste buds are situated along the side and the base of some of the papillae on the tongue. So I'm circling some of the taste buds that you see here. All right. This last one that I've circled, I put an arrow on it. You actually can see the little taste pore. Do you see that right there at the surface of it? And the taste receptor cells have cilia that extend out through those pores. Here we can see another taste pore on that taste bud. It's got to be sectioned just perfectly in order to be able to see the taste pore. If we move to the next slide, now this one's not in your book. This is a slide that we use in our labs here on campus. And on this one you can see a large papilla of the tongue. And at the sides of it, you can see some tiny little taste buds. Taste buds are microscopic. The tongue's papillae are macroscopic. So I'm just putting an arrow on just a few of these papillae of the tongue. This last slide is showing this at a higher magnification. Now here you can see one taste bud. Let me draw a circle around it. Here's a taste bud. Now you can see that even though on the picture it doesn't extend all the way up to the surface, all right, there is actually a pore. And if this were sectioned just perfectly, you would see the little cilia coming up through that pore and extending out into the space on the side of the tongue. So this one is, I guess, positioned at 90 degrees from the slide before, plus it's much more magnified. So you're seeing the taste bud in an upright view rather than a side view. Okay, now I want you to look at, make sure you go back and look at the rest of the slides in your slide folder. I've got several more taste buds especially, and I've got some labels on them. Make sure you pay attention to that. Archive recording.